And there we go, guys. Welcome to the Weekend Toast. My name's Isaiah. We've got Josh, Devin, and Ben. We're gonna hang out today.
Things backwards.
What are you guys up to?
Being old, turning 30.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You know what? Before we go any further, let's do this. We need to sing
Oh no.
"Happy Birthday" to
We're
Devin.
gonna sing.
Mike's about to conveniently stop working.
Yeah.
No, Ben, you have to take it.
What do you mean?
I'm about to be.
Ben, lead us.
Okay,
It's
so
Devin's birthday, all right? You do birthdays better than anybody, so you can sing.
It was
okay,
yesterday, but isn't Josh the one who was in show choir?
it's true. Come on, Glee.
That's true, but I gotta say my singing performance goes down significantly without the ability to dance, and so just
Yeah.
given the
I
form
always-
got,
My singing.
I don't have my sequence vest and bow tie. I mean, I really couldn't give the performance I'd want to.
My singing voice is so terrible that even at children's birthday parties, when they're singing, I just lip sync.
Yeah. Hey, how about we just say happy birthday, Devin?
Yes, I'd.
Congratulations on
Let's not
another
sit through the
year.
cringy song.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Oh, hey, look at that little thing you got there. You got a little crown now.
In our student ministry, we do like this is your birthday song. It isn't very long. Hey, and that's all we do, and we're done. And so,
Oh, well, hey, you just did it then, so that
Works.
counts. Devin,
We're
it's
done.
your birthday.
Happy birthday, Devin.
Appreciate
Happy
it.
birthday.
How old are you?
So wait, all
like
of
the
y'all now are in your 30s?
Whoa. Next topic.
Yeah.
Next topic.
What?
I'm kidding.
I'm just saying,
Some of
I'm
us are
still
further into
25 and young. The world is my oyster, and so on and such as.
and you'll never die, and all that stuff.
I won't. It's true.
There was a kid at our church that was like, "How old are you?" And I replied, I was like, "Well, how old do you think I am?" And they were like, 27. And I was like, "I'll take it. We're gonna stick with that."
Yeah,
That
but
kid hadn't been around many adults.
Well, it was one of those like I didn't want to. I wondered why they said 27. That was just like a rant. It was like, was she trying to be nice because she knew I was older? Is there something about, are there characteristics that define 27? But I was just like, well, it's younger than I am, so I'm gonna go and take it.
It's gonna be painful though whenever you're in your 30s and then you get your first I don't know 40, 41. And you're like,
Yeah. We should end just say 37.
just yeah. yeah.
Yeah. Once I heard her say
That'd have been too much.
20, I was just like, I'm in. I like this kid.
You always go low. You always undershoot.
I
'cause-
don't, for if it's a grown man, I don't care about his feelings, but typically like if it's a woman, I always do 5 years lower than what I actually probably think. Because if you guess 10 years, then that's just insulting. They know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, well, it's been a crazy week. Actually, really, I don't know. Do you guys? I feel like this week's actually been pretty chill. I know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Been pretty chill.
It's been
Normally
a busy week.
this week, I would be playing the new Madden because this is the time of year that it comes out. But I will
Good
not.
segue.
Yeah,
Ooh,
you like
Perfect
that?
segue
Yeah.
into the downfall of the
Madden.
Madden football series.
It's terrible.
Mm.
It got for those who play, it got like a 0.4 rating out of 100. I'm not
Yeah,
talking
out of
about
100.
0.4, yeah, 0.4 out of 5. You know, it's 0.4 out of 100, which I guess is probably just people trying to make a statement. But yeah, I've bought every single Madden game since 2001, and I won't be buying this year. I'm not wasting $60 on it. Just when they repackage it, relabel it, put somebody new on the cover, and slap a roster update on it, and just say the same game they've been selling for 5 years.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad. Devin, you got some happy birthdays in the chat.
Oh, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like the funny thing for me is like after hearing how bad it's been received, like watching a bunch of YouTube people that like they're Madden content creators, like just have to like you can tell they're faking it.
Yeah.
that they enjoy it. But it's so bad. Why do you guys think it's so bad?
Well, so for one thing, I'll just say I haven't bought a Madden since like 2013, but it had been pretty bad for a couple of years, even back then. But there's a YouTube channel, which I sent you guys a link to, Soft Drink TV, that's really covered it. Because I remember, like, I still play, for example, NCAA 14, which is the college version of the game. That was made in 2013.
There's a couple of
But I remember
streamers that do.
Yeah, like I remember playing Madden 17 or something, like with the youth, something like that. And I remember like the gameplay itself, the youth as in at the church, Ben, not just like
You're
young
really
people.
sounding way in yeah, youngest person.
Yeah, no.
The oldest.
No, I mean the youth as in the youth ministry at the church. And I remember thinking how clunky the gameplay was. It felt like I was playing a game from 2000. Like it looked great, just like a still image. But what this YouTube channel explains is just how Madden is completely done away with physics-based gameplay. So like it actually plays worse than a game 10 years ago. And then Devin, you also mentioned, right, that they've stripped out all of the modes that like I remember playing on the PS2 way back in the day in 2004, 2005, 2006, the depth of like the franchise mode and how you could create a player and do a career. And that's just all been almost completely done away with and made ridiculously shallow.
Pretty much, yeah. Because they used to have like the mini games, which were always really fun. They had the most popular one was the running back mini game. Like I would play that like just with friends, like going head to head, like just as much as we would play like an actual game against each other. That was super entertaining. That's been gone for years, and that's been one of those things that everybody's just like, why don't you bring that back? And then also just we're in 2020 and like a franchise mode or like, you know, a little created player mode, or if you just, hey, you want to, you know, pick up in Dak Prescott's career like you're able to in some other games and just play as him. And that, you know, there's and like 2K franchises and some of these other games, there's all this immersive stuff. Like I know MLB The Show is a big one too. I actually haven't played that in a couple of years, but I've heard they're pretty good about it. But there's like contract negotiations and, you know, like talking with an agent about trades and all that stuff. And there's, you know, it had an immersive depth to it, and that's all been like totally stripped now. It's just kind of skin and bones. And I guess mainly it's because of the rise of the stupid Ultimate Team thing, which is basically like
gambling.
It's like it's like trading cards, like or baseball cards. You know, you buy a pack and hope that you get a good one, but it's the what do they call it? Microtransactions.
Yeah, where you can earn hundreds and hundreds of dollars off of a single buyer of the game rather than the initial 60.
Yeah, you no longer just pay $60 for the game. I know like a lot of teenagers nowadays, and it doesn't make sense to me because the next year when the game comes out again, it doesn't transfer over, but these kids will spend hundreds of dollars on this stuff.
It's ridiculous.
But it's just not anything close to just what you were able to do years and years ago, as far as just all the different game modes and then the depth of like franchise mode and my player mode. It's just totally stripped.
Yeah. Josh, what was one of the examples? You mentioned something about the physics, like the gameplay physics is different. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so like if you were to play NCAA football or Madden from like 10 years ago or even older, the way that the game responds is based off of, I'm not the best at explaining this, but it's based off of interaction. So if you hit a certain player from a certain angle, he will bounce off that player like it would happen in real life. What Madden does now is a much simpler version, which is they just animate things. So basically, if you insert A and B, C necessarily happens every single time. So if you're playing it, you feel super removed. And it's very repetitive gameplay. Just to give that's such a downgrade in quality. And just to give a perspective for people who never really played Madden, or even if you don't play video games, which I'm not a huge video game guy now. I've never owned the current generation of consoles. But like the amount of progress video games have made in the last 10 years technically is staggering compared to like what we all used to play growing up, right?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, we can all say, even if you don't play video games, technology-wise, think of how much better the iPhone is in 2020 than it was in 2010. It's a completely different product. That all the rest of video games have gone on that trajectory, except Madden is a worse gameplay experience than it was in 2005. It's hard to find any like comparable product in video games or technology. It's unbelievably terrible, yet they still make put out the same thing, partly because because they have an exclusive license with the NFL. So EA Sports, the people who make the game, they don't have any competition for making the game.
I'll give credit to
1 second, Ben. What are you doing?
Yeah,
y'all keep going about your business. That's fine.
This isn't a sports exclusive talk. This is a video game talk.
Yeah, it's a video game talk, Ben.
All right. Talk to me when you get to Zelda or Assassin's Creed.
Oh, okay. Assassin's Creed is a good example too. To segue from what Josh was talking about, how like 5 years ago the gameplay is better than it is today with Madden. I mean, I remember as a teenager, I used to like dream about like, man, how cool the football game is going to be in like the year 2020. And like, I mean, I was thinking like full VR stuff, you know, where you're actually able to like, you know, actually like throw the ball and stuff like that. We're getting there. But as far as like the Xbox stuff, man, it's been terrible. And another franchise that's done that is the Assassin's Creed games. The I guess the animation and like the I don't know, just like in that game, the way that you would get kills and stuff like that, it was much more like fluid and like it looked cooler. And now it's just the very like basic like hack and slash, hack and slash, hack and slash, like over and over again until the enemy dies. And so I don't know, it almost seems like Madden's not the only one, but they're definitely up there. And I don't know, maybe in larger part it's EA, because I think EA makes
No, that's Ubisoft does.
Ubisoft, yeah. But I don't know. I remember 5-10 years ago thinking about where video games would be today, and some of them have kind of like lived up, I guess, and other ones it's like, no, they've been about the same for like 10 years. There's been a little bit of improvement in graphics and stuff like that, but it seems like the gameplay in a lot of games has gotten worse.
So Laura in the chat asked if any of us have played The Last of Us.
Yeah,
that's a zombie game.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I played the first one back on the PS3, that was towards the end of when I played a lot of video games. The Last of Us is the best video game story I've ever seen. Could top a lot of the best movies.
I haven't played it because I don't have PlayStation. But
so the second one recently came out, and it's got like a 10 out of 10 on IGN. And it's got like 90s ratings and stuff like that. It's a really good game. What I was gonna ask though is, do you guys think, and Ben, you can chime in here on this one, but like, is there a chance, and this isn't a defense for the Madden games, but just I'm thinking through other games, is there a chance that like it's like that movie we remember, and then we go back and watch it and we realize, oh, it's not what I remember? Like, when's the last time any of us have gone back and played any of those games?
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like there was one, like I remember some of the CGI segments in like Tekken, and I was like, oh, those look so good, and then I went back and watched one of those and I was like, looks horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I got one that has aged the worst out of any game, considering how great it was in its time. GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Well, because it's missing the third axis.
Too old for me.
Yeah, sure. No, just talking like in like how the camera goes. Yeah, It was like trying. You know how like when you're in a nightmare and you're trying to run, but it's like you can't for some reason, or it feels like you're running slower than you're supposed to. That's what it felt like. Last time I played GoldenEye a couple years ago, I was like, oh, I'm about to wreck shop in this. I'm gonna have paintball mode and the golden gun and everything. I'm gonna do this. And then I was like, I can't play this game. I'm about to have vertigo and pass out. And so if there's one game that has not aged well, it's that. But a game that still continues to be great because sort of the dynamics kind of stay the same throughout, or any of the Super Smash Brothers games.
For sure.
So like Super Smash Bros. On the 64, still like it's not as great as the other ones, but you can still like, okay, this is fun. And Star Fox.
Ooh, I would disagree on the Star Fox games, but
it's not as bad. They're not as bad as one would like. Like if it was released for the first time on like on a phone or something like, no, this would be moderately enjoyable. So there are greater ones, sure, but it's not like abysmal.
Yeah.
Still push B, throw that bomb, finish it off. It's great.
And I would say for the football games, I've gone back and played a little bit of some of those Maddens, but having played the newer Madden, just as bad as it is, it's unbelievable. I do still play NCAA 14, which was running off of a similar engine and how they used to make the older games. That's a great game today, man. That still holds up, and it makes Madden look horrible.
You know, it's another good game is that actually I think released today that was still good then. I'm excited to go back and play it now. They released a combo like Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
Yeah. I'm excited about that.
Tony Hawk 2, I dumped hundreds of hours into. It was amazing.
Dude, the Pro Skater games are awesome. Yeah.
Devin, what was the game you were going to say? I forgot. Did you say it already?
Well, I was going to say I still like going back and playing the old sports games just because there's a nostalgic factor there, because you can go play with, the team at that time. And I remember the last time that I did it, it was actually against Josh at your bachelor party. We went to that video game arcade.
Oh yeah.
And they had like a PS2 with NCAA 06, I think, on there.
Yeah,
so it had
you played with Vince Young.
Yeah, I played with Vince Young, and he played with the Reggie Bush, and Matt Leinart at Trojans, and
that's right.
It was still fun. And again, there were certain things about the gameplay, like with the old football games, there is no fade route. That's one thing that I guess the new Madden games have got right finally, is you can throw a fade route now in the end zone and have actually jump up and catch it.
If you watch the video breakdown thing I sent you, you actually can't do that. You used to be able.
It's just an animation now, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, they glitched the cornerback, so it's scripted is how they do it.
Yeah. That's just like the blocked field goals are scripted.
Right.
But it's at least something. But yeah, other than that, there's the gameplay still plays well enough to where it's still very fun. Now, I will say one that man, absolutely loved this game as a kid, but I tried to go back and play it on the computer recently, and it was like, I know it's still cool, but it's just not quite the same compared to other games now, is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh,
did y'all play those games?
Oh, dude,
I never
it's so bad.
No.
It's so bad.
Those games were so cool at the time, though, because I still am waiting on Star Wars to do something similar, just updated, because it was very,
they have a Jedi game out, right?
Yeah, but it was an RPG, and so you could customize how your character looked for one, and then you would go around to different places, and you could buy different crystals for your lightsaber and change the colors on it and all that stuff, and it was a pretty cool game.
So let me ask you guys.
It had a fun storyline too.
There's a franchise or a series that I really loved in regards to the gameplay, but in regards to the story, it's probably the worst, most convoluted, confusing storyline I've ever been a part of, ever witnessed. Can anyone guess what it is off the bat?
You played so many weird things growing up, I don't even know.
Shut up. You don't know.
Did Lost have a video game?
That's good though. Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I stand by my comment. I stand by it.
Hold on.
I never played it, but I know Isaiah and Ben.
Company.
The Kingdom Hearts storyline, though confusing, does make sense. Have you played all the games?
No, I have limits. No. I played the first two, and then I even tried to watch videos of all right, here's all these other little side games that have shown up before Kingdom Hearts 3, and I couldn't keep track of anything. And that made me feel really old, or it made me be like, oh, this is just dumb. And I realize this is dumb. So it's one or the other. Either I'm old and it's actually really smart, or it's dumb and I'm really smart. So
I'm gonna go with the former. No, only because I played the third one recently, and it kind of puts a bow on some things. Admittedly, it did get a little convoluted. They got way out there with some stuff, and then because 2 really didn't come. There's so many games in between 1 and 2.
Between 2 and 3?
Yeah, 2 and 3, and so it is a pretty.
That's how
muddied up story.
That's how some of the Assassin's Creed games are. Some of them, the writing's obviously the history's trash and it follows some kind of Ancient Aliens kind of type stuff. But some of them, the story is decently well written, and it kind of you'll even continue playing the game when the gameplay is no longer fun, just because you want to finish it and get a conclusion on the story. But then some of them get really out there.
So let me ask you guys a question. When it comes to video games, whether it's games from your past or games that or wherever you think the future of gaming might be, what makes a good game for you? So Ben alluded to the difference between gameplay and story. What is it? What makes a good game for you? What are some examples of games that you could totally go back and play versus ones that probably not?
For me,
on what you're going.
Go ahead, Ben.
When you, I tend to like a good campaign and a good story. I'm not as big on playing online or something like that. I like a good story, and I like playing through that storyline. And so sometimes after I'm done with that, I'm done. I'm not usually the guy to go back and collect all the Riddler trophies or something.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, but I also like while I'm playing it, for it to have good sort of fluid, controls, and while it's also having a good story. I liked the Arkham games, because it was like good fun dynamics while also being like a cool storyline. But then again, we established last time, big Batman nerd. But then to that end, like Assassin's Creed, depending on the game, like some of them had better storylines of how they tried to, ancient aliens, the history of things. But like for those who have played, like there's a character like named Ezio, like who had like what 2-3 games, and like just his story was really cool. His story was cool, yeah. And so the other ones may not have been as great. So I think it's just for me, it's a combination of like cool story in the campaign, along with controls that seem to flow really well.
Do you feel like is there a difference between like it looks great versus like it just has to play well?
I would want some. If I had to pick between two things, I would pick plays well over looks great, because I really don't want a crappy game that like is just, oh look, that rabbit looks so real. Like you can. It's like
Madden 21.
Huh? What'd you say?
That's what the modern Madden games are. If you saw a still image, you'd be like, wow, that's an incredible rendering. And then if you watch the gameplay, you're like, oh, this is very fake.
Okay, honestly, Skyrim is like that for me. Because I mean the game's super fun and the story's compelling, and I love the open world customization. Any game that has like really good open world where you don't have to go do the main mission right now, you can go goof off and do all kinds of other stuff and try to unlock like better weapons or stuff like that. I'm with Ben. I don't really like playing online, so I kind of stick to those games. But Skyrim is that one where at the time like it did look amazing, but then again the combat and stuff is just very like hack slash, and then whatever, do the voice thing, the shout where you would push them off a cliff or whatever. But,
oh gosh, I remember back then everybody was making videos with the dragon shouts and stuff.
Yeah, or getting punted by the giant.
Yeah.
Josh, what about you? What are some of your favorite games of the past, and like what do you like in a game?
I really like story. That's why it's hard for me to decide what my favorite game is, but that's why Last of Us is so far up there. The gameplay in Last of Us is perfectly suitable for the game, but that story is just phenomenal. Like when I think about it compared to the stories of some of my favorite movies, I mean, it really does stack up. And I've never seen any game like that. I've never expected that from anything. So Last of Us is definitely up there. I really like Red Dead Redemption. Did y'all ever play the first one?
Yeah, I love Red Dead.
The second one was really good too.
Well, and from what I understand from the second one, the first one would probably seem shallow, but at the time, and I think I recently replayed it like a couple of years ago. It's like, it's still a great game. It's awesome.
Yeah. Did you play the zombie one?
Oh yeah, dude, that's like the best downloadable content thing I ever got. Yeah. Red Dead Redemption was awesome, and then I remember, I think this was like later on in high school, Far Cry 3. I remember it was mostly for a gameplay reasoning. That was a really, really fun one. Those three were particularly nice.
I just forgot one, and then I remembered it that I have to mention, because we're talking like main consoles and not like handheld. Like I downloaded the simulator a while back, a couple years ago for Pokemon.
Yeah,
and for the Game Boy. Amazing.
Also, dude, I don't know, Apple, do what you need to do to get like a deal done with Nintendo to where we can have the old Game Boy game on our iPhone, because now they revoke your privileges when you try to download that app, and it deletes everything. I tried to download it again recently because you're right, it was so much.
Well, that's because the ROMs are like pirated.
Yeah. So
the ROMs,
I'm like, I'll pay $30 whatever it is to have
those pirate ROMs, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be. It would have to be a deal with Nintendo to allow their. But they push the Nintendo store so much. Like they want you to do that on the Switch.
And that's the thing is like, if I have a Switch, I'm not going back to play like the original Super Nintendo version of Super Mario, even if that's available. I might for a little bit, but you know where I'd really play that? On my phone.
Ben's excited.
Yeah, Ben's excited.
I need to clarify. I can Isaiah, are you saying that I can play old school Game Boy games on the Switch? Because I just didn't.
Well, yes and no. So the 3DS technically still has a lot. Like there's a library. Some things are console exclusive, but Nintendo has like the Nintendo store that you can purchase all games on. So I could not just hear me out. If I wanted to go get like Pokemon Yellow, could I technically play that on the Switch and buying it? I don't believe that's on the Switch. You'd have to do that on the 3DS.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was about to like ask Anna if we could.
Okay, so let's see here in the chat. We've got some people said Lord of the Rings on the GameCube was their favorite game.
My wife has that, and we played it recently. And actually,
It was your wife.
I had a roommate play that a couple of years ago. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, she put that on there.
It's still fun.
No, it's great. NHL 2K1 on the Sega Dreamcast.
Whoa.
Kayla said she played that the other day. Still
Sega.
fun.
You go.
Yeah, me and my brother played that all the time, and all we would do is try to get in fights.
That's
I don't know how you were. I think it was just random. You would have to just hit a guy hard enough, so we would just try to run into each other like full speed, so we could get in like a fist fight. We weren't even worried about scoring goals.
That's funny. So okay, let me ask you the last question on video games. We'll go to our next topic, or we can stay here. What do you guys think like the future, like what's going to make it, like obviously there's always going to be things like story, right? There's always a story to tell. There's always gameplay quality as far as how realistic it is or isn't. But like what's going to be that thing that's like brand new to the equation?
Ready Player One.
Okay, so is it like, I mean, is it or what is it called? AR? Artificial reality? Augmented reality.
Yeah. Augmented reality, yeah.
Like what do y'all think the next like the next trend?
Hey, Isaiah, do you still play Pokemon Go?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, hang true, man. Yeah, it's awesome.
They have mega evolutions are started this past week.
Oh wow, those. Yeah, that's a thing that's important that I know about.
You asked.
No, I'm just messing.
So, but like, what do you guys think the next thing is? Like, I feel like AR was starting to gain some traction. Virtual reality is always talked about, but like what is it going to be? Because then I feel like as you started seeing all of those things talked about and games start to come out in those arenas, like then the indie game scene just blew up for the past like 5 years. So what do you guys think it'll be?
I mean, I think it'll be the virtual stuff. I know they're making a lot of progress on that stuff, and I know a lot of it right now is like the kind of virtual horror games, but I am really excited about just the idea of virtual sports games someday. That was one of the things I was kind of really excited about the Wii when it first came out, because I thought that there would be like, and like the Wii baseball game is kind of fun, but it's not like what we could have made it. I wanted to actually be like really swinging a bat and stuff like that.
See, I think it'll have to be something to that end, but that doesn't require you to actually swing, because I think people
like a remote control of some kind.
Well, I'm saying like he's saying like, oh, as I do the action, like it, plays that way in the game. I think it'll be a mixture of VR headset and controls, or very simple controls, or very minimal movement, because like not everyone who really plays video games is even as coordinated as one might expect. So you're gonna alienate certain people. And I mean,
but what if it's like a difficulty setting? Like there's like a certain level of assist, That'd be kind of cool.
Well, so have you guys played VR, any of the VR games right now?
I haven't, no.
Like, so I played a little bit of whatever Resident Evil they made into a VR game at a friend's house, which, oh my gosh, dude, talk about terrifying. But one of the things with that, and even no matter how much they refine and stuff, they're never going to be able to make you not get dizzy spinning around or to feel uncoordinated or what. I just don't see simulated movement as a future at all in games. So I think more along the lines of what Ben is saying, that I could see more headsets and goggle things to get you in the game, but you're still sitting down holding a controller, because not only is that, that's not just from the perspective of when you want to play video games, you just want to chill and relax, which that's what a lot of us want to do. But it's just better to play it that way. I don't see actually moving your arm in a football throwing motion or swinging a bat, no matter how close they get that to reality. I just don't see that as being interesting for people.
Yeah.
So one thing they've started doing it with like shooting games and stuff like that, it's been a mix of like augmented reality. Well, it is augmented reality, but with it's augmented in the sense that they're augmenting.
Disturbing that a shooting game is augmented reality.
Well, like I think it's like with like paintballs and stuff like that. It was like it's augmented reality in the sense that they're augmenting like arenas onto real world objects. So it's like, imagine going into a big like just warehouse that's like a green screen, and you put on a headset and it turns that room into a jungle. Now you're running around, and so like when you put your hand on something, something's there.
Yeah.
And so like I thought that was kind of cool. I think
that's cool.
I think the physical aspect of that will be what makes that not become mainstream, because you still have to go out and do these things.
Right. You'd have to have the means to
I prefer that because
participate.
One of the things is I feel guilty about playing video games too long as I feel like I'm being unproductive. But man, if I'm getting like a little bit of a workout in while I'm playing video games, that's a win-win.
Right. But I think that goes to the point of like a lot of people play video games like the work day is over. I am home. I've eaten. I can sit down and play for it. Just like somebody might watch Netflix for a couple hours or something like that.
I agree. I think the next step will probably be what Ben was talking about, but I don't think the whole Ready Player One thing is like too far out of,
well, Ready Player One
that's completely fantasy to me.
There was
right now, but the technology, we're getting there. I don't think we're too far off from being able to do something like that with the gloves that simulate a touch sensation, and then he had like a harness, and it was like an all, it was like a treadmill type thing. Yeah.
No, I get that. Do you think that because like there are actually things like that out there. I've seen.
That's mainly what I'm talking about with being able to do stuff like that.
I don't know if the interest in the market will ever justify the cost to mass produce that.
So what it would be though is there's an anime called Sword Art Online which it was the premise around it.
I've actually seen the season 1 to that.
And
the anime I think I've ever watched.
And the thing is, like, I don't think we're near this, but I think that would be when virtual finally takes over, is if you can go full immersive virtual reality. Like in the premise, you put the headset on, it taps in your head, you get transported to a place.
Like the Matrix.
Yeah, and so like I can't wait for that to happen.
I don't know. I feel like, okay, so I'm seeing a lot of people who aren't even cool with like vaccines. And so the idea of the man being able to hijack your brain is just too like crazy for a lot of people.
Hey,
well, if you just get a spinning top, then you can always know. And only you can touch it though, and don't ask for details.
My whole thing is like I'm totally the guy that like I'm ready. Like I know where I'm going when I die. Like I want artificial intelligence. I want to be friends with robots. I want to be able to dive into video games.
Unless you confuse the artificial world for the real one, and then you die, and it turns up you just wake up and your muscles have all atrophied, and you're like, oh, whatever. Actual Earth.
Just say that he just said he wants to be friends with robots. What do you?
Yeah, because none of you guys have ever sat there and had a conversation with Siri.
No, I have not.
Like, I'll get her to. Like, fine. I'm like, this was fake.
I'll get her to do things like my little, robo jester, like, hey Siri, beatbox, and then oh, here she goes. No, don't do that.
Hey, is your Alexa turned on, Devin?
Yeah, it's way back the other room, so
I hate it when
Alexa does some funny things too.
Yeah, well, the one that I accidentally did at your apartment that one time.
That's funny.
I can't
remember. All right,
everything.
so let's see here.
It's for off the podcast.
Oh, real quick though, on that note, with like the whole like really immersive VR stuff, one of the things that like Rogan talks about is the worry that like, what if it's so good that it's better than the real world? Do y'all remember that Black Mirror episode? I think it was like called San Jacinto Valley or something like that. And it was where you find out at the end of the episode that what you've been watching, and it's like a very 80s style, like California time where they're going to 80s bars and beaches and stuff like that. And then you find out at the end that they're actually dead. And this is like their memory downloaded onto like a computer or whatever, and they're put in this little VR system to like, that's their heaven.
I haven't seen that one, but
you haven't seen that one? No.
I guess the thrill of the episode is gone now. But
no, Devin, but you're like that concern. I would say that's already a thing. Like you have people in they'll have like massive multiplayer online, RPGs and stuff like that where you can go and like live in a simulator world. Like when the PlayStation Network first came out, like that was the thing. You could go, you had an avatar and you mingle, whether it's World of Warcraft and stuff like that. Like for people now, that is more fun than what you do, and so that's why people spend hours and hours and hours there. But
video games can already be like addictive, and so man, if it gets to that point, like I know there's certain times when if I've got like a bunch of stuff going on, I will purposely like not start like getting into like a new Netflix show or something like that, because I know that I'm a binger. I press play and then I've got to finish it. It dominates my life. And same thing with like a really good video game campaign. I'll play it like the whole week, other than obviously being at work and stuff like that, because I'm just like, I just got to binge this thing, beat the campaign, get it out of my system so I can get back to being a productive human being.
Speaking of fun shows that you have to binge, The Mandalorian season 2 is coming out.
You're getting better at the segues, dude.
Well, they would be so much.
Yeah, we're good.
They'd be so much better if you'd stop calling them out.
Sorry. Yeah. Hey, do we have a release date for
October 30th?
October 30th. Okay. Yeah. So I'm really excited for The Mandalorian season 1, which actually, Isaiah, you mentioned binging it. But as it comes out, we can't binge it because it's weekly episodic, which I think is one of the ways that Disney Plus understands TV way better than Netflix. They're not making an 8-hour movie. They're making 8 episodes.
Yeah.
But I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on the first season, because I remember when I was first watching, I thought, man, these episodes are kind of short, and I was hoping for a longer, more attached story. But the longer that it went on, the more I came to think of the episodic nature of it as more fondly, because it's so removed from the rest of Star Wars that it's little own contained Western, very influenced by like Sergio Leone's films, who did like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and Fistful of Dollars, that kind of stuff. And once I recognized that it was just kind of an episodic Western, I loved it so much more than what I was wanting. So what did you guys think of season 1 and how it contributes to Star Wars?
Well, I want you to expand on what you said at the beginning, that like weekly episodic shows are a better understanding of television than just dropping the whole season of Stranger Things in one bit. Because like it intrigues me that you're like, oh, I hated this thing until I realized it was this. Now I love it. Like, does that make it good or bad?
I mean, no, so I didn't hate it, but I was, oh man, am I pausing real bad? Well, I might have to wait through some. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I'm with you, Josh. Like I
can hear y'all.
I found myself wanting the episodes to be longer. Some of the short, because the first one was like 40 minutes or 45 minutes. And then I remember like the second and third episodes.
Before credits, they're all under 30, just about.
Yeah, and then the second and like third episodes were barely like over 20 minutes. And it was one of those things where I prefer to just like, I know I won't. On October 30th, I'll be watching that first episode. But what I really want to do is wait until they all come out so that I can binge it, because I hate having to wait week by week. But I don't think I have the discipline to abstain.
Millennial.
Well, so now that my connection's back, I can kind of explain more on that, Isaiah. When I say it's a better understanding of the benefits of TV, I mean the way that most people consume TV. So I can't remember if we mentioned this briefly on the podcast before. I know I've talked to y'all about it, at least privately. But a lot of the most popular shows on Netflix are sitcoms, right? And sitcoms the good ones are endlessly rewatchable, as pretty much probably anybody watching this will admit to, right? You watch the Friends episodes. Hey, Seinfeld is an all-time great sitcom. Get out of here. Part of it is the episodic nature, but even dramas made for TV. So like if you go and watch Breaking Bad, everything's very contained within an episode, even though it's part of a larger story. But all the Netflix original shows, very rarely are they super episodic. They're all released at once, and it's meant for you just to keep watching. Whereas remember when Mandalorian season 1 came out, we had to wait every week, but it also kept people talking about the show for 8 weeks. And we would talk about it through the week. And since they were self-contained episodes, even if there was a larger story that they're more committed to, with those having the episodes truly be episodes and not just part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, it makes the show more rewatchable. It's what people go to it's what TV does best. It doesn't have to be that way, but I found it really telling of Disney's awareness of the differences between film and television, in that their first original that they put to launch their service was done this way, and compare that to any Netflix original, it's completely different.
But I think that the difference is that those Netflix originals they're trying to almost take care of that middle, right? Because how many movies have we left wanting more? But but it was already 2 hours.
Also, nobody watches Netflix originals.
That's not true.
Dude,
mean, like,
no, compared to their viewership for the
well, okay, I'm
if you
like
Clark and stuff.
compared to
number
the
one,
rest of their library, practically no, but it is not moneymakers.
but that, I mean, so that supports your point that episodic type content has better rewatchability. It doesn't mean that the other stuff isn't good.
No, that's true, and I'm not
And
saying it's not.
so like I think you take something like Stranger Things. Like I don't care about which episode was which episode, but I'm glad that I got to watch 8+ hours of this story develop, because if they would have made that a movie, I wouldn't have liked it. If they tried to make it this like each episode has a small story arc and this overall story arc, then like that's almost forced. Like I totally understand. Like The Mandalorian was more like it is a sitcom in that regards. I just think that though when they dumped those big, yes, it's 10 episodes, but it's to binge. Like it's that middle almost of episodic television versus 2-hour movie, and that's what I enjoy about it. It doesn't have the rewatchability. I would agree with you there. Like I'll go back and watch scenes, but not an episode.
The problem for me was, go ahead.
I think Stranger Things is fantastic. Now I think as big as the Stranger Things hype was, especially even for season 1, could you imagine how much longer it would have gone on if they had released it week by week? It doesn't mean the episodes are episodic.
Yeah.
But if they had released Stranger Things week by week, we would have been so much more consumed in Stranger Things talk.
Personally, I wouldn't have, because I would, to almost defend your point but disagree with your statement. Like I wouldn't have enjoyed it if it would have where those episodes would have ended. If you would have made me wait a whole week, I would have been like, well, this is dumb, because like you wouldn't have had like natural closing points to like be okay with. And so like I wouldn't have, like, the reason I watched the whole season
is fixed once the episode releases.
Yeah.
If I come back to watch the episode.
Oh, dude, you weren't leaving a Stranger Things episode without coming back to watch the next one.
No, because they were all available and I binged it in one night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I would have kept coming back for more, but like I said, I'm a binger by nature. That's how I prefer to do it. So, I do that with everything. Podcasts, books. I mean, I listen to them on like 2x speed just so I can get through them and get to like the next one. So,
yeah.
Also, Ben, I see your Baby Yoda cereal, and I raise you the Baby Yoda action ball that we got from my unborn son. So,
congratulations.
Show us that thing, Devin.
Way to raise him right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
nice.
punch him like that one guy did.
Okay, no, that was the saddest thing ever. My God, when he smacked Baby Yoda,
that was terrible.
So, what are you guys hoping for season 2? What expectations do you guys have? Because we all agree The Mandalorian is great, and we're looking forward to season 2.
Yeah,
I think we're all spoiled because of Marvel and the universe and the cinematic universe, and so like I think that's what I want from everything that I like now, is I want it to build into a larger story, and I don't know if it's going to do that, and I'm going to be okay if it doesn't, but that's what I kind of want.
I'm kind of the opposite of you. I kind of hope it doesn't.
Its own isolated thing.
Well, I mean, think about this, Devin. Do you want it to lead into the sequels? Do you want it to go anywhere near that territory?
No, I mean, I just think there's so much room for a story that they could make. Just branch
right, but I'm saying like
totally new direction.
How much it would pain me if they tried to attach it to which I recently rewatched the sequels, which I texted you about, which was a painful process.
Yeah.
But
it's also hard to pinpoint the time when this is happening.
I think the creator said it's like 5 years after the Return of the Jedi. I don't think that's stated necessarily in the show.
I think that's right.
But yeah, so the second death ball go boom. Yeah, that happened somewhat recently. But I kind of just hope it just kind of hangs around in its own corner, because the galaxy's big enough that we don't need everything attached to the Skywalker story. And the last 20 years have told me that, like, please do not say anything more about the Skywalkers. Like, you can't do it. It's already ruined. Like, just do your own thing.
Ben, what are you looking forward to?
I agree with what Josh said. I would like for them to explore some more of the Jedi type stuff, but I know they're not going to do that. It's not designed to do that, and so there's that like desire to like, pull it into like the mythology in Star Wars. But honestly, I think one of the things that makes The Mandalorian great is how little like Star Wars it is, because Star Wars, by and large, is a largely overrated film series. And because never have I heard a group of people who are such big fans of movies they hate. Like, huh? Did you say DC?
What?
Oh no,
Uh-huh.
some of those movies straight up suck, and I'll let that happen. But like, they're like, oh no, Star Wars is great, and then it's followed by all of the things that they should have done with the movie.
Star Wars has 2 all-time great movies, and everything else at the very best is mediocre, and a lot of it is regarded as garbage.
And even those 2 great movies are great for their time. And
No, I disagree.
No,
with
they're
that.
still great.
Which 2 are you guys saying are the great
he's
ones?
saying 4 and 5.
Well, it's Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. Those are so in the horrific counting system. 4 and 5, yeah, the first 2 movies, I think are. I think structurally as movies, especially Empire, as a movie built together, that's as perfect as it gets. I'm not saying it's like the greatest movie ever, but it seriously is one of the greatest movies ever. Both of them are so paced so well. Constructed a story so well that they really understood the cinematic experience.
So I think that one of the things that's greatest about Mandalorian is that it doesn't try to copy any of that format, try to copy any of that storyline, and it tries to just like, oh well, there's something we don't know about. Let's explore that more and expand on that. Like they're bringing Boba Fett back, right? And so
are they?
Yeah, and so that's apparently the guy.
Side note, sorry guys, you didn't know the Weekend Toast was going to need a spoiler alert. My bad.
Well, it's on
it's like trailer news, right?
I'm kidding.
No, I mean, I think he like if you go look at IMDb, he's cast.
Yeah.
For this upcoming season.
Yeah, the guy who played Jango Fett.
They hinted at it in the first season.
Aquaman's dad?
Yes, Aquaman's dad. Yeah. So,
crossover, maybe.
Oh my god! But yeah, I like the way it tries to be this like neo-western that takes place in a different galaxy.
Technically, classical western is the genre it's pulling from. But.
So
Isaiah, I think you joked at the crossover. Have you ever seen that Patton Oswalt bit?
The Jerry
the extended cut filibuster. That's fantastic.
We have Garrett in the chat said that Ahsoka Tano is gonna be the one that like helps it move towards Jedi stuff. You guys, how do you think about?
Oh, is that character in it now?
See, there's just some things like that where I'm just like, oh, I can tell that there was not forethought in a lot of this. Like you can sort of tell with certain franchises, like, oh, they were thinking this whole thing out from A to Z. And because of that,
hashtag not the sequels.
Hashtag not the sequels. Yeah, because like they gave like different writers and directors for each one rather than saying like, hey, here's our full trilogy that we're going to create and then deliver that. Because like they didn't even call the actor who played Palpatine until after everyone hated episode 8. And so they were just like, let's scramble to try to fix this.
Have they filmed this second half of the season already? But I know most shows film in half seasons.
I think they've been done with it, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think shows with this level of production are like that.
Well, they had to. Wasn't there a break between the first half of season 1 and 2? Sorry, the first half of season 1 and the second half of season 1.
Yeah, but I thought that was more of a. I thought that was more of a marketing thing, like break for the holidays type deal. I think when you have show level this production, like a sitcom would do that, but I mean, a sitcom's working on like 2 sets.
What's that, Devin?
So I just looked it up, and the Kenobi series is still a go, and there's a rumor now that it's going to take place in 2 different time periods. So there's a lot of story they can explore there.
So am I hearing right that like if season 2 like tries to expand this so much that it's a part of just everything else Star Wars. I mean, it's Star Wars, I get that, but like if this whole season is just expanding this into the universe, like would you guys be disappointed in that regard?
I would be.
I would.
I'm okay
with Easter eggs. I'm okay with something parallel, but I don't want it to
reminders that we're all in the same world, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want if it's going to build into something, I want it to be parallel. Don't build into the old universe stuff. Just go. There's so many different directions they could go that are new and be its own thing. And so
if there's one thing that I would like for it if anything, for the sequel series, it's how that first order came about. Like, it's just exists.
Be great.
The big bad guy just exists whenever we're at the start of things. I would like to see how did this come to power? Where did this sort of rise up? Like, if we could start seeing like a little bit of that, then that might be interesting and can play well. But other than that, I don't think it should go too much into that. Certain things I'd like to see it explore more is what exactly is Yoda's like race, like what is that species, and see if there's any more exploration on that. That would be something that I would like to see. I don't want them to put too much Baby Yoda in it, because then you get into what I call crunk disease, like where the side character that everyone loves now becomes a main character, and it's not as fun anymore. Like Emperor's New Groove, great. Crunk, hilarious. Crunk's New Groove, let's not talk about it. All right. Cars 1, okay, that's funny. Well, let's make Cars 2 all about Mater. Mistake, So it's not good to make those side characters main characters too much.
Or when the Oklahoma City Thunders decided to bet on Russell Westbrook, it's not the same as with KD.
Yep.
No.
Preach.
You said that just because you knew I'd get lost.
It was for Devin.
Yeah, I got it.
Is there anything else that you guys are looking forward to this fall season? Like, I know you guys said you weren't going to go watch Mulan, but like just movie-wise, television show-wise.
Did you guys watch the first season of The Haunting of Hill House? It was like a horror.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that was fantastic.
They've got a second season coming out. It's a different. It's going to be a totally different storyline, but I think it also comes out in October.
It's interesting because they're using some of the same actors in this one, even though they're none of the same characters.
Oh, really? So I have no idea, actually.
I'm cool with that because I thought the acting was great.
It was.
Yeah, so like American Horror Story, which is trippy, and I wouldn't recommend it. Like they'll use the same actors as different characters in different storylines in each season. So it's like an anthology series, and so apparently that's what they're kind of going with this as well. Like,
hold on, have we all seen Haunting of Hill House?
Nope. I shook my head no.
Oh, Isaiah doesn't like horror.
He hates the scaries.
Yeah. Whoa. Ben, did you say yes or no? You kind of.
I have, yeah.
Okay, I won't spoil it for anybody, but guys, just like that, like with the bent neck lady, when you like, that revel, I was like, that kind of like cosmic level horror of
the scene in the car when they're driving.
The part.
Oh, dude,
that was like biggest jump scare of the whole thing.
Yeah, the still what we call today the wardrobe moment, which we got from The Conjuring.
Yeah. No, I think Hill House was great. Like the story kind of like most horror movies, like the story at the end, it's like, whatever. But it's really hard to tie it off. Yeah. It's about like when you're in the mystery, and I mean, the first 2/3 of the season is just terrifying to watch.
Yeah.
It's a fun
experience. I mean, one of the best examples of that is the Nun. Did I think the Nun was a good movie? No. The end of the plot and the ending that they had, it was so stupid and it was so terrible. But as I sat there in the theater, I was genuinely in terror for like 2/3 of the movie, hold my breath. So yeah, I agree though. Yeah. It's hard to put a nice bow on the end of a horror movie. They almost always kind of end up being a little bit dumb, but you're right. It's more about the experience.
Yeah. I've been watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That's a good show.
I heard that was good.
Yeah. I've heard good things about it. That's Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on Amazon. Sweet. Awesome. There's going to be some good stuff. Ben, get that wheel out. We're going to see what's on the wheel for today.
Yeah, random wheel. What?
Tell us what you got on there.
So today is just...
Oh, do you have a ring light?
It's just... I do. Look at that.
Aww.
Right there. So today is we'll just call it the Great Debate, because it's all just debatable things, and we're just gonna have to argue it and hash it out.
That was the name of Gwen Stefani's solo album.
Oh,
debatable thing. What was it?
No, The Great Debate. Or no, it's called The Great Escape. Sorry. Never mind.
We got morning showers versus night showers.
My wife is laughing at you, Isaiah.
So we got morning showers versus night showers. LOL versus haha. Ketchup versus mustard. Cake or pie. Waffle or
death.
pancake. And
cake or death.
And then in sync versus back.
Okay. So
All out of cake.
what I want to do is like let's spin this and let's get one or two of these in. But I do want to go and just like vote across all these at some point.
Okay.
Just like rapid fire it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whichever ones we don't get to.
Cake or pie?
Pie.
Pie.
Because as that BuzzFeed video said, I'm an adult.
Maybe pie.
Yes, dude, I forgot about that.
I don't know, man. Like
Wait, cheesecake is a pie, by the way.
Then absolutely pie.
Oh
Just
gosh, yeah, dude, pie,
yeah.
pie by a landslide.
Pie. It was great.
Cheesecake
Although
is
I
made
will
in a
say-
pie crust and everything, so it's a pie.
I will say, if you've had a Baskin Robbins ice cream cake, which I don't think just fits neatly into the cake thing, because ice cream. Dude,
Ice cream cake
chocolate-
is more of cookie, isn't it?
No, so like the way
That's
Baskin Robbins does it, like what I like for my birthday is a chocolate cake. It's like a roll, and then there's mint chocolate chip ice cream in it, bro.
Yeah.
That's good. But just
Sounds like an
generally, pie.
experience. Okay,
I
so
would
we
think
have
it's
a
awesome,
we have a
yeah.
cake vote in the chat. What do you guys?
Yeah,
Ben, you said cake. What is your reason?
But I'm conflicted because like there are certain pies that are like past like anything, and I just love them so much. Like pumpkin pie / sweet potato pie, great, right? But I still feel weird about eating that in May. And pecan pie depends. Apple pie, no bueno. But then you get into like things
Really?
that are cobblers.
Are you a communist?
Dude, blueberry pie. Oh man, that's the best.
I've never had blueberry.
Like key lime.
Blueberry pie is
Lemon
Key
meringue.
lime.
key lime's good.
There's a
Pecan pie. Anybody like pecan?
It's okay. Yeah.
So there's a place in Bishop Arts that's just as like pie and coffee and ice cream, and
Ooh.
like that's all I need.
Oh, Emporium pies.
Emporium pies.
Still haven't been there.
Sponsor. But if we like, there are certain cakes that just because it's so easy to eat. I'm a quick eater. Like I don't need to savor. Like if I'll enjoy eating something quickly, and it seems like I can more quickly eat a piece of cake than pie, and so there's an enjoyability factor there. I also like the corner piece, big on frosting. When I worked at Pump It Up, which was like a party place for kids in high school, they often had like leftover cake. For like they're like, hey, we bought too much cake. Here's like half a sheet, and then we'd put it in the break room. And so like every day there was just this ongoing like continuing revolving door of like different cakes and different bakeries, and it was so good.
So
My critique of cake is why Ben likes it, because it's way too sugary and almost like cartoonish, and I think that's why he likes it.
Which goes back to your point about being an adult and like in pie.
Hey, so I've got like going to the cheesecake thing because Laura and I are talking in the chat here. She's like, it's called cake. It's not called cheese pie. Is there a reason? Like, I know we had the
Peanuts
hot dog.
are called nuts, but they're legumes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I don't make the rules.
Like, is there
Buffalo-
is there a reason? Like, is there a technical reason why it's called cheesecake, not cheese pie?
I don't know. That's what we would call it.
Cheese pie
Buffalo
sounds
don't
disgusting.
have wings. Buffaloes don't have wings, and chicken don't have fingers. So we
Cheesecake
still
doesn't
call it
often
that.
have a full like outer crust that you see with pie. You just kind of like, it has a lower crust underneath it as a base so it doesn't fall apart.
Mhm.
You don't
Yes,
feel like the crust with the ridges around it.
that's it. That's what defines a pie.
We'll have to revisit that. I will say though, I do love pound cake. I'm a pie person,
I'm
but I
not
like.
anti-cake. I'm
Yeah.
just
I'm not a big cake person unless it's like when somebody makes a homemade cake, I'll try some of it. And I usually enjoy homemade cake, but like the like Albertsons ones with like the neon icing and stuff that are all over them, I'll pass on
gross.
that. Now,
Yeah.
But
Bundt
like
cake.
Costco,
Bundt
Costco
cakes or
cheesecake.
cupcakes.
bundt cakes, that's a different thing because they have that the red velvet bundt cake with the cream cheese icing on it.
That's pretty good.
That's a
Yeah, have you
different
ever
story.
have you
But
ever
like
seen
you
how
can
you're
only
supposed
have
to
like
eat
a little
those?
bit of that because it's like really rich.
It
and
is
very
really rich. It's like
dense.
yeah, like
All right, Ben, give
Well,
us
here-
another one. Oh, sorry, you had something
Okay.
else.
incidentally, at Thanksgiving I make pie cake, and that helps because then I can just put a pie inside a cake, and it
you
makes
perfected
like-
it after trying it 3 times in the apartment.
We got cake versus pie again. I have to spin again.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Gosh.
perfected is a strong word.
God wants us to get the word out about pie today.
Ketchup or mustard?
Depends.
Yeah, ketchup, I guess, but
I'm actually gonna go mustard. I think
not
mustard.
a zealot about it.
There's more things I would put mustard on than
True.
ketchup.
I'll agree with you there because Yeah, I like if I'm going hot, if I can only choose one for like, I like both, but if I can only choose one for a hot dog or hamburger, I'm going with mustard. And I would never ever dip fries in mustard, but I can eat fries without ketchup. So
Yeah, I don't dip my fries much. I'm not a sauce guy.
depends on the fries.
For sure.
Yeah,
Depends on what else you have. What else you have accompanying the
dip my fries in anything. It's gonna be cheese or
ranch.
a frosty
Chili.
Ranch.
Ooh, frosty, yeah. That's
fries.
Guys, we Stephenville has its first Wendy's in town. That place, yeah, it's been like weeks now, but that place still has a line wrapped around the building every day around lunch and dinner
For
time.
Wendy's?
Dude, like
That's weird.
when you haven't had it, look, I know you guys live back there where civilization is a thing, but like out here in
The capital of civilization, but go on.
When you haven't had a Frosty, you know, or a spicy chicken sandwich within an hour of you for a long time, it's a big deal.
Do they at least have decent service out there in Stephenville?
Yeah, for sure.
Because, dude, it's honestly like hard for me to go anywhere but Chick-fil-A now, just because the service is terrible. My wife and I, we went at like 8:30 one night. We were craving some spicy nuggets, and we went to Wendy's, and we waited for 45 minutes.
I'm gonna let you in on something. I had a bad Chick-fil-A experience yesterday.
You did?
Oh, don't.
No, I don't even want to know about it, man.
Let's
call
pray
it
for
the
them.
exception that proves the rule.
They've closed in. I don't know. I've been having a few. Like, one time, like I was at the speaker for like 3-4 minutes. I know it's like a short amount of time, and no one even said anything. So I drove up to the window. I'm like, "Is y'all's speaker broken?" And then they were just like chatting and talking, and they're like, "Oh crap!" And like,
that's like my experience at McDonald's every time I go there.
Yeah, but this was at like 5 o'clock on a weekday.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And, but no, yesterday, like I did a mobile order because it's still not open inside yet, and they made me get in the line anyway. Like they didn't do curbside stuff, and so I got stuck in a heck of a long line despite doing the mobile order. So it didn't help anything. Yeah. And so, yeah, I was.
You know what
disappointed.
it is? It's just like I think it's up where you live, man. Out here, it's like it's a blessing.
Probably that location. Yeah.
People are more appreciative, you know.
I was gonna say what location is this, but we probably shouldn't just blast them on the internet, you know.
And we should pray for them.
Go ahead. You owe me a free sandwich. It was Flower Mound, y'all.
But sorry, Flower Mound. I'm sorry. I almost got to the mute button.
The other one's doing great. The other one is killing it. But oh my.
I had to wait like 15 minutes one time at Chick-fil-A, and I remember I like wasn't even mad. I was just like kind of concerned. Like, are you guys okay? Like, are y'all understaffed today, or what? You know, what happened? Like, do you guys need help? I'll pray for you.
What I'm gonna say is the worst experience for a drive-through is Whataburger.
Whataburger, absolutely. But it's so good that
the food's so good. Yeah, that's the problem.
Dude, the spicy ketchup is why I go there, and I go there knowing I'm gonna wait 20 minutes. And there's only gonna be one car in front of me, and it's just.
Dude, to tie it back to our discussion, now that I remember that spicy ketchup's a thing, it's like ketchup is a slam dunk for me.
Oh, dude, okay, yeah.
A good portion of my ketchup consumption. I don't really use ketchup with a lot of things, but I will always eat spicy ketchup where available.
It's literally the reason I go to Whataburger.
Yeah. See, for me, the reason with mustard is like I'm not making a turkey sandwich with ketchup. And I like sandwiches too much. I like sandwiches too much. Like I want it with mayonnaise, but like mustard and mayonnaise, though not always great, are interchangeable. And so there would be that. All right, Ben, let's get another one in.
Yeah. You spin it. Oh, mine was mustard, by the way, for certain things, and ketchup for certain things. It's like I can't pick.
Well, I think the whole
burgers
debate is to choose.
I like weird. My one weird thing is like for corn dogs, I have to mix the ketchup and mustard.
You ever dunk it in the center and just spin it?
Yes, that's exactly what I do. Yeah.
All right. So I don't like this one. I actually want to hear this one. What about waffle versus pancake?
Oh. Are we okay? Now let's set some guide rules here or guidelines. Just plain. Right?
No, with syrup. I mean.
Well, I mean, but like we're not talking like chocolate chips and blueberries.
Well, I mean that's a wash because you can add blueberries to either one of them.
I know, but I feel like they raise the quality of one much more than the other.
Okay, that's a fair point. Yeah, I'm going pancake. Mainly because of Dakota Burton's grandmother. She makes that if there's anything he's not exaggerating about, it is his grandmother's pancakes. Those things are next level.
It might be the only thing he's not exaggerating about. Love you, Dakota.
Love you, Dakota.
Ben, what about you?
I'm gonna go pancake because you don't need to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy a pancake maker.
Yeah, I think I'm pancake for those reasons, Ben. It's kind of a toss-up for me, but like I can make pancakes no problem whenever. But like the thought of actually having a good waffle at home, it's just like I don't want to go through.
I'm definitely going pancake because of you can stack them, and I'll tell you why I like to stack them because I like to put a sliver of butter in between each slice, and then the top slice too, and then pour the hot syrup on it so the butter melts all over it. And so I'm definitely going pancake.
I'm gonna go waffle. Josh, I hear you, but like it's technically the same cooking like method as long as you have a waffle maker.
But I don't want to buy things.
You had to buy the pan.
Yeah, but that's like a necessity for everything. No, I respect you though. I love waffles, and there are definitely times where I want a waffle more than a pancake. But I think
which one do you think is improved more by adding like blueberries or chocolate chips to it?
So what I was gonna say about the waffle though is like with the waffle, there's like on the cheap side of things, you have more options with a waffle. I can toss in a frozen Eggo, take that with me. They don't make frozen pancakes that are worth anything.
True, and you can just like smear some peanut butter.
So in like the college student in me is like waffles all day. If you're talking about
college student over 30, yeah.
Ouch.
Ouch. All of y'all are over 30 now. Yeah.
Appreciate
the spirit of youth for the show, if anybody didn't know.
Yeah. Have some respect for your elders, young man.
Yeah.
He is 31.
And you're not old enough to command my respect. You're just old enough to be out of your 20s.
And then like Meg says in the chat here, like nothing beats the Texas-shaped massive waffle at, the Holiday Inn continental breakfast.
Oh, they do. They have the Texas like waffle
But
crust.
I would say as far as like which one, I think toppings raise pancakes much higher than waffles get raised. So like now if you were to tell me like, hey, everything's on the table, I'd go pancakes in a heartbeat, like because I'm assuming we're tossing crepes in there, but even if not, like bananas and Nutella and all that stuff on pancakes, much better than when you toss them on a waffle, in my opinion.
Would hurt me if I did not mention this next thing. To throw something into the equation, French toast.
Ooh.
Well, good French toast is better than both of those other things, but it's a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I agree with that. She would say French toast beats both of them hands down. But
that was my favorite thing my dad made for breakfast growing up. But I don't remember the last time I've eaten French toast.
Because I would consider French toast, like I know it's technically an entree at IHOP, but I would consider that a side to whereas I'm looking at a waffle or my pancakes as the entree. Like and I know that those can be sides as well, but more often than not, like I've seen pancakes and waffles as an entree as opposed to just French toast as my entree.
I have one more thing on top of this, as long as we're talking about breakfast food. I believe wholeheartedly that a muffin is the same as a cupcake. It's just that we don't put frosting on it and we call it something else, that we don't feel as bad about eating a cupcake for breakfast.
But most of the time they have fruit in them.
So you can have a blueberry cupcake.
When have you ever seen a blueberry cupcake?
Oh, yeah, when have you ever seen
it? Homie.
Huh?
Cupcake.
All the time.
That like
no, because you think muffins are cupcakes, so that doesn't count.
Ben, technically the difference is in the batter and how the batter's made.
Yeah.
But conceptually, it's the same thing.
No, but I'll take a muffin.
That's a slippery slope.
Conceptually, it's the same thing as bread. It's just a different shape and a little different ingredients. Okay,
I'll take a cupcake over a muffin all day. And the best is when the muffins are literally fresh out of the oven and you just cut it open and you put that little sliver of butter in there. Man, I'm a glutton for butter. And
my grandma makes these raisin muffins.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You're gonna have to let go of that desire for butter in your 30s, my dude. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right. What else is
I'll
on
have
there?
more for you.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's rapid fire. Just single answer. Morning versus night showers.
Morning.
Night.
Well.
Okay. We're not talking about these night.
LOL versus haha.
What?
LOL versus haha.
LOL.
LOL.
LOL's got more versatility.
Yeah, you can use it ironically.
I would actually, what I would do is option C is throw in a well-timed GIF.
Rollful.
And Monster Cake Pie. Oh, NSYNC versus Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet Boys.
No, no
NSYNC.
opinion.
Backstreet.
I'm going in sync.
Yep, you can tell the older ones in this group.
That's right. Yeah, I wasn't gonna say it this time, but
We'll get there, young.
I'll say JT's the best out of all 10 of them, but
For sure.
Backstreet Boys was a better group, personally.
it's one of like the 3 names I know, so I'd have to agree.
That's funny. Awesome. Well, this was fun, guys. Devin, happy birthday.
Happy
Yeah,
birthday,
appreciate
Deb.
Thank you.
Do you feel older?
No, because my wife has been calling me 30 for 2 years now. So she's well conditioned to where like pretty much the entire time I was 29, when people would ask me how old are you, I'd be like 30, 29. It was just, she like pounded it into my head that I was already 30. So
Awesome.
I still have y'all's birthday card when I turned 30 that was like, thanks for being old so we don't have to, or something like that.
because you were the first one, yeah.
Ben, how
Maybe
many
it's-
times have we had to tell you?
Trying to reply to a comment.
Awesome. Well, hey, we will be back next Friday with the Weekend Toast. That's our name. That's what we do. Josh, Devin, myself, and Ben. If you guys have any questions or anything
Wanna
you'd like
raise a
us to
toast?
talk about.
Toast to the weekend?
Yeah, toast.
I
to the-
already ate mine at the beginning because I was
Oh,
hungry.
man.
Oh. Well, the different toast.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Cheers. Like,
cheers. No.
awesome.
Is that a
See-
rain?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah,
Is it
I'm addicted. I'm
perfect?
gonna have to start cutting back on energy drinks. So you guys
Same.
pray for me. All right, guys. We'll see y'all later.
See ya.
Bye.